Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. We're going to be taking a look at another Dwarf replay, of course, this time from Umaze. He's taking on the Lizardmen, so let's get straight to it. These Rangers have already opened up shots. We've also got the Ulthar's Raiders here. Looks like a Rune Lord and Rune Smith. Some Quarrelers, lots of Longbeards. Very, very good choice here. Warriors, Dragonfire Pass, Dragonback Slayers. Got a single cannon, more Longbeards, and Giant Slayers in the back with a single steam gyrocopter. Looks like we've got a Skink Priest, a whole ton of Red Crests, along with Tic-Tac-Toe, Cold One Riders, and Feral Cold Ones. And it looks like vanguarded out in the corner, we've got some Skink Skirmishers now running in. So yeah, these unfortunate Red Crests have already taken Rune of Wrath and Ruin, taken tons of Quarreler Fire and more, and obviously with little armor and no missile block chance, they are just going to get absolutely savaged by these Dwarf ranged units here. These Rangers ranging far, ranging fast, just dumping in quarrels, throwing axes, all that jazz. This Runesmith going to come forward, deliver some righteous hammer blows here, get bopped a couple times by some skinks, but oh yeah, just dropping some justice. Meanwhile, from the top, the gyrocopters are going to be continuing to rain down. Looks like this Ranger potentially getting caught out here by some skinks, but already the Red Crests getting punished pretty hard, but you can see that the Skink Skirmishers have been able to get in and occupy this cannon. They're also fighting the Longbeards, which is not super efficient, but at the same time, these Cold One Riders look like they're trying to get back and push into this backline a little bit here. We'll see. There's a pretty heavy Lizardman advance coming up this side, and yeah, here where this unit of Rangers got caught, Tic-Tac-Toe, and the Skink Priest is going to come down and just absolutely wreck them. Here come the Longbeards, though. Longbeards are actually a really good pick in this matchup. They'll trade efficiently against Saurus Warriors, they'll trade efficiently against Red Crests, against Skinks, pretty much any, even like Temple Guard, they'll trade relatively efficiently against pretty much all Lizardman infantry, so I really like the pick of Longbeards here. But we do have a bit of a pickle here as these Cold One Riders get up and around the flank. You can see, just if we take a kind of overarching look here, Dwarves are doing a good job for the most part maintaining their defensive position, but this cannon is definitely going to get taken out. These Longbeards probably will take some good damage as well, and this flanking attack here could potentially get some good damage done. This is also a great pick for the Lizardman to be able to get Tic-Tac-Toe doing what he does best, up in the air, taking down other flying units, and he should be able to get some good damage done on these gyros. We'll see. It looks like they're getting some good dice rolls right now, not taking too much damage, but backline has been compromised pretty heavily. These Clever Girls getting in here. The Skink Skirmishers firing into Giant Slayers. That's going to be very efficient use for them. But yeah, Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin on those Cold One Riders will significantly debuff their speed and do a good amount of damage. You can see these Cold One Riders kind of rolling up here. The ranked up Red Crests are getting some decent damage done. A nice bombing run from the Gyro there as it attempts to escape. Looks like we've got a summoned Manticore as well. We'll see where he drops down. Most likely going to go after these Rangers. Yep. Looks like he goes after the relatively tattered group of Quarrelers, actually. Probably would have dropped down on the Ulthar's Raiders, just from my perspective, because they are a relatively expensive and powerful regiment of renown. One thing to note about Rangers with great weapons, while they do have pretty short range, they do a crazy amount of missile damage. They have a quick reload time, and they do, what, 32 total missile damage with each missile, which is a ton of missile damage, and almost purely AP as well. Fortunately, the Feral Cold Ones are going to get in here and start to interrupt them a little bit. Balance power still dead even after everything. You can see the Lizardmen have done a great job getting a full surround here, disrupting the defensive position of the Dwarves. The Rune Lord is getting chewed on by Cold One Riders, which is not the best. The Gyros have finally got caught by Tic-Tac-Toe and the Skink Priest. So definitely not out of the woods yet. Things initially looked very favorable for the Dwarves, but the Lizardmen definitely fighting tooth and claw here, absolutely. Tooth and Claw and Obsidian Mallets, apparently, because they really like them. Whereas the Dragonfire Pass going to get in here. They have taken relatively little damage. Their anti-infantry bonus will definitely help them against a lot of these skinks here. But we'll see. Looks like the Summoned Manticore falls there. The Giant Slayers are also relatively healthy as well. So a lot of tools for the Dwarfs still online, but their ranged units are starting to be shut down. Gyros were chased off, and here comes Tic-Tac-Toe and the Skink Priest back. They can start to try and pick away at some high-value targets here. If they could maybe come snipe out this Rune Lord to start doing some leadership damage to some of these other Dwarf units that are a little bit more tattered. Longbeards are going to be tough to crack, though, and having this many Longbeards, especially even if he does lose his leadership, because Longbeards all have this Encourage trait, it's really, really hard to make them rout. They're actually super, super cost-effective in terms of their leadership. But yeah, Feral Cold Ones doing their best, just cycle charging in and out here. The Giant Slayers are attempting to follow up. The Ulthar's Raiders as well don't have the worst combat stats in the world, plus AP. They'll be able to do a little bit of damage in return, especially with that marked by Ulthar debuffing the melee defense. Or no, that's missile parry. But anyway, regardless, those Cold One Riders have been dealt with and are going to be routing off there. Red Crest catching another Rune of Wrath and Ruin there. Going to be trying to finish off some tattered Quarrelers, but we'll see. Still a very tight fight at this point. There are lots of Longbeards relatively healthy, but here comes the Flying Goon Squad. Going to try and start taking out some Dwarf characters. Obviously, Tic-Tac-Toe does pretty good armor-piercing damage. The Skink Priest, not so much. Only has 300 weapon strength, primarily not AP. But Tic-Tac-Toe, on the other hand, does really good armor-piercing damage. Isn't necessarily great at like fighting big blobs of infantry, but definitely can do good damage over time, and especially with the support of all these skink infantry, he should be able to get some good work done. We'll see. If the Dwarves can secure these ranged units and start shooting Tic-Tac-Toe, he does only have 48 armor at the moment, so that is a pretty small amount. Even like these Quarrelers and Rangers will be able to do a lot of damage to him, but Lizardmen player doing a great job here using these Cold One Riders, Feral Cold Ones, and more to keep this backline disrupted. The Manticore, obviously, second summon Manticore, also making his presence felt here as well. And looks like we've got a Whistle's Wild Form on those Skink Skirmishers as they pull away there, trying to give them a bit more armor and defensive stats. Over here, these Red Crests helping to support. Those Longbeards are just holding out, though. Like I said, they are, Tic-Tac-Toe is not super efficient at fighting big melee blobs, and especially because of the Longbeard's high melee defense. 48 melee defense means that Tic-Tac-Toe is not going to have amazing chance to hit against them comparatively to some other units. And you can see the Dwarves are starting to secure this pocket a little bit here. Their ranged units will be able to start firing in. We do still have a unit of Cold One Riders back here, but yeah, we'll see. There are still plenty of Giant Slayers left as well, and obviously Tic-Tac-Toe coming down anywhere near those Giant Slayers is going to be a really bad idea. But yeah, Longbeards are able to secure the front line, and you can see the Dwarves starting to pull ahead once again on the balance of power. Does look like they'll probably be able to take this. We'll see. Maybe if Tic-Tac-Toe gets down here and snipes out this Rune Lord, since he is kind of isolated right now. But I just don't think that the Lizardmen have enough to take down all these Longbeards and these Slayers and everything. I mean, Tic-Tac-Toe is certainly a very strong character. He might be able to get this Rune Lord here, but there's just not enough other supporting elements. And, of course, as Tic-Tac-Toe starts to get more and more isolated, he's going to face some ranged fire here, and that's going to be pretty uncomfortable for him. And the Giant Slayers, of course, the Rune Lord is still alive. Looks like the Skink Priest going after some units in the backline here, but we do have some Skinks starting to shatter, and it's just not looking really good for the Lizardmen at this point. We'll see. Giant Slayers are taking some volleys. That's going to be the most efficient use of that Skink Skirmisher ammo to try and finish off those Giant Slayers. Tic-Tac-Toe, I mean, he's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. I guess it's technically possible, but here he comes trying to snipe out the Rune Lord. That's definitely the first step, but all these Quarrelers just going to start shooting in and doing some good damage. That Skink Priest, especially if he routes off, that's going to be another big damage on the balance of power, and he is getting filled with all the Quarrels right now. So yeah, I don't see how the Lizardmen can necessarily take this one, but certainly was a good attempt. See what he was going for there. I think he maybe just overinvested on the Red Crests a little bit. And honestly, Tic-Tac-Toe, maybe going after Gyros here, but he is sort of an anti-air specialist, like an air-to-air combat specialist. So I don't really see the need in bringing him here unless you just really want him to be cheap. But in my opinion, if you're just looking for a cheap armor-piercing Lord, there's much, much better options to just take on the ground. You can take one of the generic Lords for insanely cheap. We'll have a look at that in just a minute here, but Yep, these Lizardmen characters, Tic-Tac-Toe and his lieutenant here, going to make their final stand against the Dwarves. Just absolutely bopping the Rune Lord here. Obviously, the Giant Slayers and the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass going to be too much for them, and it will be victory for the Dwarves. So, Dwarves been making a good showing so far this patch. I have been enjoying playing them a bit, and looks like other people have as well. So, big thanks to you, Maze, for sending this one in. It's definitely a fun one, and yeah, like I said, Longbeards, excellent pick in this matchup. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are just kind of like a slightly cheaper Longbeard, basically. So yeah, I definitely like that pick as well. The Slayers obviously did their job, and the Quarrelers, you know, you do need AP missiles to a degree, and the Ulthar's Raiders with their armor debuff can kind of help the Quarrelers with their lack of AP. Then, of course, they have the AP missiles as well. Cannon, always essential here in the Gyros. Despite the fact they got chased off, we're able to get some good damage in. For the Lizardman player here, again, I think he just overinvested a little bit on these Red Crests. They're not really a frontline unit. They're more meant as like a flanking attack unit. And just match one-on-one against Longbeards, they're not going to do super well. I think maybe if you were to cut like 2, maybe bring just some more skink cohort numbers, and then I might cut some units down to try and bring some Croxigors. Croxigors are really, really good in this matchup. Because of their anti-infantry and heavy armor piercing. So if we have a look here, let's go to, what am I looking for? Lizardmen. Yeah, the Croxigors, excellent in this matchup. That heavy anti-infantry of plus 20, 68 AP per swing, 100 armor. They have decent-ish stats. They're not amazing, but good leadership. They also cause fear, which is something. But yeah, definitely recommend them in this matchup. And as far as lore choices go, this is what I was saying. Like, you can take the Red Crest, Skink Chief on foot. He's going to be a small target to shoot at, and he even has some useful abilities, this Warrior's Crest, and he also has his innate focus instincts as well to stop rampage, of course. He's less than 1,000 points in this, guys, so you can then go super wide on your army with something like this, like 4 Croxigors. Could take 4 skink cohorts. Maybe we grab the Red Crest, including the Regiment of Renown, of course. We do need a caster. Personally, Lore of Beasts is good. I like Lore of Heavens a little bit better here. We are going to just take Harmonic Convergence. Curse the Midnight Wind can be pretty good here, but I'm going to be relying more on AP troops. We're actually going to bring Comet of Cassandora, just in case a big dwarf blob forms that we can drop some heat into, and then from there we can do some different things. Maybe bring some Cold One Riders, definitely a good pick. Maybe we can bring 2 of them and some Clever Girls, something like that. It's a super wide army, lots and lots of AP. No terror though, so you may consider bringing at least 1 terror causing unit. If you were to cut back a few of these, you'd have to squeeze a few more things out to be able to afford an Ark of Sotek, but Ark of Sotek, it's not amazing. It may be more worthwhile to bring the Revivification Crystal to heal your Croxigors. But the Ark of Sotek, if there's any matchup where it's going to be okay, it's probably not this one, actually. But, I mean, if a Dwarf Blob does form, you can drop this ability. It does have unlimited uses. It doesn't do very much damage. It does a little bit of damage, but it also does poison as well. And, I mean, you already have the Red Crest to apply poison, but just another poison, you know, anti-infantry, terror, has heavy armor as well, and it's just a nice distraction piece. This is just so many targets for them to focus. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 large units, large armored units that they're going to have to focus with their range tools. And if you just bring in everything at once and try and heavily overload a certain, you know, area of the battlefield, it can be quite effective, certainly. So, yeah, hopefully I'll get a replay showing something like this off in the near future. But in the meantime, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.